Namaste. I am so delighted to be with you on this Wednesday. It is the end of August as I'm recording this. I cannot believe we are at the end of August. Holy moly. um, I am Gloria Grace Rand, and we are coming to you live on social media. And I'm want to welcome those of you watching on either Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And I also want to welcome those of you who are listening to this rebroadcast on your favorite podcast platform. Before I get into what we're going to talk about today, I just want to go back to what we've been talking about. So, my last couple of episodes, where it's just been me, not just been, where it's been me. Words, watch the words that you say. I'm getting sidetracked, but it's important to watch the words that you say and to think about them before you speak. Anyway, the last couple of episodes where it's been a solo episode, I've been sharing parts of the L.O.V.E method, which is something that I wrote about in my book, Live, Love, Engage. And so the first one we talked about was letting go and letting God, and really about the notion of letting go that you're separate from God, and really acknowledging that you are part of God. God is part of you. We are one. And then 2 weeks ago, I talked about opening your heart to receive, and in particular, receiving God's grace. And that really, ultimately, what God's grace is just another way of saying love, and to be open to receive the love of God, which comes from everyone. It's because God is not in just you, and God is not just in me, but because God is in you and God is in me, that means God is in all 7 billion of us on this planet of ours. So it's about knowing that. So today, I want to talk about valuing what's unique about you. And that's what the V in L.O.V.E stands for: value your uniqueness. And I also want to talk about valuing the defining moments in your life. And I'll explain what that is in a moment. But I want to share with you in my book, what I talked about was valuing the importance of valuing your unique talents and abilities and gifts. And this was something that for me was one of the hardest things for me to come to grips with. I wasn't appreciating all of the different things that I'm good at, and I downplayed it a lot. And a lot of us do that. But as I'm working on exploring the L.O.V.E method more, and I'm wanting to find deeper meanings for some of this. So in thinking more about valuing what's unique about you, yes, your talents, gifts, and abilities are important, but it's also about what you do with them and the experiences that you have in the world. And that's what brings me to this defining moment. One of my coaches that I've worked with in the past is a gentleman by the name of Bo Eason. And he's an author, a phenomenal, I was going to say fantastic, but changed it to phenomenal speaker. And he actually used to be a pro football player, but now he makes his living speaking and coaching. And I happened to just kind of catch a Facebook Live that he was giving in a Facebook group that I belong to of his. And it was perfect timing, because I'm actually working on a presentation for an event that's happening at the end of September and October called the Weekend of Positivity. And when I was listening to Bo, he reminded me of the value of actually starting a presentation with a story and having it be a defining moment in your life. And a defining moment is something that we have them all throughout our lives, but it's something that I think where something happens either to us or to someone we love, and we create a meaning around that, and it oftentimes changes the direction of our life from that moment on. The inspiration when I received this idea for the book was certainly one of the defining moments of my life, because it totally has changed uh, what I've done, what I speak about. But he was encouraging us to really look at earlier defining moments, something that happened to you between the ages of 9 and 12. And I I really couldn't come up with anything, and I was getting really frustrated. And then because I kept going back to an earlier defining moment, which I think happened maybe when I was 7 instead. It was something actually, I wrote about it in the book, but I've I was thinking about that, but the way I wrote about it in the book, it was sort of a negative event that happened in my life, and one where I made the meaning that I took away from it was that I'm not worthy, and I can't show anybody love. But I realized as I was doing some thinking and thinking about this yesterday, going, okay, how could what else could that have meant for me? So let me share with you briefly what this story is about. When I was in the second grade, I had a crush on a boy. Yes, at the age of 7, my first crush. His name was Timothy. And evidently I have a vague memory about this now. I remember what happened after, but I remember, I guess, that at lunchtime we would get to go outside and run around the playground or courtyard. I was going to a Catholic school at the time. And I was running around this courtyard or whatever, chasing Timothy to try to kiss him. And I guess I did this, for a few days in a row. Never caught him though. Darn it. Did not catch him. Well, one afternoon, it's show and tell time. And so the teacher asks for volunteers, and Timothy raises his hand and he gets up to the front of the class and he says, "Every day at lunchtime, Gloria has been chasing me around the playground trying to kiss me." And it wasn't so much what he said that affected me, it was the fact that the entire class erupted in laughter. And I just remember just being so embarrassed. Now, yesterday, in thinking about this story, I started to think about how did that really affect me? And I think now what I realize is that I decided in that moment that I didn't want anyone to ever embarrass me like that again. And so what I decided to do to avoid embarrassment was to be the good girl and to make sure that everybody around me was happy. I became a people pleaser because I figured if everybody was happy with me, then they're not going to embarrass me because they're happy. I'm doing what they want. I'm you know, and that's what I realized, that I do believe that's what then caused me to be someone who was always, getting good grades in school, and except for chemistry. But other than that, I got, straight A's in school, and I did really well, and I always was trying to, take care of everybody, and even in my family, and just, taking care of my kids, and just putting everybody's needs ahead of my own. And that's not necessarily a good recipe for happiness, long lasting happiness anyway. I mean, yes, I'm making everybody else happy, which is good for me. But if I'm doing it at the expense of my needs, then that's not valuing myself. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. So think about that. I encourage you today to think about Well, number one, think about, are there things about yourself that you take for granted, perhaps, that you are good at, that you do excel, but you downplay them and you don't value them? I did a talk about this recently as well, where, so often uh, we are quick to dismiss compliments from other people and we'll say, oh, that's no big deal. Oh, that was easy. But again, when you do that, you're not valuing who you are. You're not valuing these wonderful abilities that you have. And if you don't value them, then who else is going to do it? And if you're in business, this really becomes a big problem because, again, if you're downplaying what you do, then how are you going to charge for your services? You're not going to be able to do that very well if you're not appreciating and saying, yeah, I am good at this. I am an expert in, XYZ. So it's important to do that. And to realize that all of these things that make up who you are amazing. And they are what differentiate you from other people. And that's, when I am coaching clients and I talk about, uh, especially when I'm helping them with their, maybe even helping them with their website. Sometimes when I've been doing copywriting, it's important to be able to come up with what is unique about you. Why should someone do business with you versus somebody else who's doing the exact same thing? And that's something that you have to figure out for yourself. You've got to look at and say, is it my different background? Is it maybe a different level of education that I got that other people don't have? But to be able to articulate that is important so that people can say, oh, okay, so this is who this person is. This is why they do that. And then they will be better informed to say, yeah, I think I want to know more. I want to talk to them and I want to perhaps hire them to do whatever it is. Maybe it's a photography, for instance, or something. It's so important to value all of you. And I'm going to say this too, is not just the good stuff either. um, there are parts of you perhaps that you don't like as much. And that's okay too, because it's what makes you a fully human being. Is there are going to be parts of yourself that they call it the shadow side. And it's okay to acknowledge that and to appreciate it, because again, it's what makes you you as opposed to Jane Doe or John Smith. And yeah, just value it. That's all I'm going to say about that today. I think I just really encourage you to do that, to take a look at what's valuable about you. And I will give you this tip. If you really are stumped and you can't think of anything, go ask somebody. Ask your closest friend. Ask a family member. Ask your clients. What is it that you see that I do really well? Or what is it about me that you like? And then listen and see what they say. And write it down if you need to, so that on those days when you are feeling less than, you can go back in and read and say, oh, yeah, I am valuable. Yeah. I I do good work. Yeah. It's important, because there are days when we don't feel that great and we need something to lift us up. So keep a track of those things so that you can do that. And if you ever want to chat about this some more, I'm always open for a discussion. You can reach me at engagewithgloria.com. In fact, I'll put it here on the screen for those of you who are watching this. Go to engagewithgloria.com. It takes you right to my calendar where you can schedule an appointment with me, and I would love to chat about you and what's going on with you. And maybe even just in your talking things out with me, I might be able to say, "Hey, that's pretty special. You can do that? Wow, I can't do that." Because sometimes that's all we need is we need someone to hold a mirror up to us and reflect back what it is that is amazing about us, because we don't often see it in ourselves. We're good to see it in other people. And I will tell you, if you do see it in other people, the reason you see something amazing in someone else is because, flip that mirror around, you do have it in yourself. That's why you see it. You're just not necessarily conscious of it, but your soul knows. Your soul knows. Okay. Now, as always, I love to share the daily word from Unity on these broadcasts. So I looked up the word unique on the Daily Word website, and I found a lovely message that was from February 2nd, 1993. So it's a little while ago. And the affirmation was, "I am a unique expression of divine light." I like that. So it says, "A diamond has many facets, and each facet adds brilliance and sparkle to the stone. The facets of one diamond distinguish it from all others, making it unique. Like the diamond, there are different qualities that each one of us possesses, and these traits shine forth to make us special and unique. As we express qualities such as love and compassion, understanding and forgiveness in our interactions with others, we give unique expression to the light of God that indwells us. Because we express the light of God in all we do, nothing can limit us or cause us to be less than God's perfect creations. The qualities we express bring forth the beauty that is inherent within us as God's beloved creations." And then there's always a scripture reading, and this is from Romans 12:2. "Be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may prove what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Food for thought today. So I hope that hope you realize just how unique and special you are. And oh my goodness, I just had this thought, and I wish I had had this before I got on today, because I would have loved to have found it. Um, it was reminding me of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and I think Fred Rogers used to sing a song about, like, "You are special. There's no one like you," or something. And yeah, this little glimmer of it just kind of popped in my brain, but I don't remember it. I will look it up and I will put it in the show notes. That's what I will do. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes, because okay, I'm a child of the 60s, and I grew up watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And a couple years ago they had some documentaries out, and then even the feature film with Tom Hanks as well. And he was just such a holy man, is what comes to mind. Yeah. He really loved children. He loved people, and he treated children with respect and kindness. And oh, we need more Mr. Rogers in the world today, because we all need to be able to learn to respect and treat each other with kindness, and to value each other's uniqueness. Oh yeah, that's one last point I want to make about this before I share a light language message with you today. It is important to value your uniqueness and to value others, to respect it, and to acknowledge that we all come from different backgrounds, from different heritages, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and yet, so all of that makes us unique in how we see the world and how we respond, and yet God is in every single one of us. And so that is our common denominator. And so it's important to respect each other's uniqueness and to love each other and to love those uniquenesses, because it is what makes you different from me, and we're still all the same. And I've been listening to lots of different readings, different spiritual teachers, and reading books and things, and what it really all comes down to, and I think Jesus said this in the Bible, is that, he said, I am the vine and you are the branches. And that's really it, is that God is the vine and we are all of the branches that come off of it. And we're all unique in the way our brain, in the way we move and the way we grow and how we look. We're all unique. And yet what is flowing through us, that lifeblood, is God. That is what is the same about us, is that we all have God inside of us. And so we have to remember that. And I know it can be challenging when there's so much discord in the world right now. But if we can just start with, maybe don't necessarily look at all of that, start with your neighbor. Start with the person you pass going down the street today. Give them a smile, acknowledge them. I start the podcast every day by saying namaste, and I really want to make an effort to be more even mindful about how I do that, because namaste, I believe, really means that I'm acknowledging, spirit within you. And I see God in you. And that's really ultimately what that means. I know there's a different meaning, I think, from the Hindu or wherever that comes from. But to me, that's what it means. It means I'm recognizing God in you when I say that. Okay. Whew. All right. I would love to share with you a light language message today. And it's my intention that this will, that you listen to this and allow God through you to express your uniqueness and to really value what is unique about yourself today and every day. And as always, if you're listening to this while you're driving, come back and listen to this later, because I really think it's better where you can listen to it, where you can even close your eyes and just allow the sounds to come through you today. So this is God's message for you, God's message of love and light and value for you today. Guanyatushi koyaneka, sanyu no kolietahe, osho no eka ni, koyo no koye kake hu. Sonyo neka e hasi, anyo no koletate, soyo ki ka hoye he, anyo no kokasi hoye no kiate, oshia no kikahe, anyo no ki, ano ki ha, Esochi anokikaye sanose anoyekatu shode heani kanyokoyateka he anyokiachi shionokiha kuku その家かへ하소요 no 기하 안녕콜리나티세 오쇼 no 기 아세 no 기가 omnikoshiatu 마녀코 기하에 아소요 no 기야 오카뇨니카해 아뇨니카시 오쇼네 아노키알야테하 아뇨네카세 호예 오쇼노기소. Thank you for watching today and for listening. And if you would like to know more about light language, if you would like to know more about the L.O.V.E method, go to gloriarand.com, go to engagewithgloria.com and set up an appointment. I'd love to chat with you. And if you liked this episode, please share it with a friend. I encourage you to do that as well. And until next time, as always, I would love for you to go out today and every day and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.